Lieutenant Marcus Webb stared at the ornate certificate in his hands, reading it for the third time to make sure he wasn't hallucinating from combat fatigue. To Lieutenant Marcus Webb, for extraordinary valor in the defense of Kitsara Prime, we bestow upon you the highest honor of our people, a sacred bond with Lady Yukiara of the Silver Tail clan. May this union bring prosperity and honor to both our peoples. Beside him, his commanding officer, Colonel Sarah Parks, was trying very hard not to laugh. "So," Marcus said slowly, "let me get this straight. I saved their capital city from the Crixian invasion fleet, and their way of saying thank you is giving me a wife." "Not just any wife," Sarah corrected, scanning her datapad. "According to Kitsune cultural tradition, a warrior who performs an act of extraordinary valor is bonded to a female of appropriate rank as the highest possible honor. It's considered more prestigious than any medal or monetary reward. But I didn't ask for a wife. I asked for a commendation for my crew and maybe some shore leave. Well, you're getting a fox girl instead. Congratulations, Lieutenant. Try not to cause an interstellar incident by refusing." Marcus looked at the certificate again. The Kitsune were a fox-descended species, humanoid with distinctive vulpine features, including fur, tails, and pointed ears. They'd been part of the Galactic Coalition for centuries and were known for their advanced technology, strict honor codes, and extremely rigid social hierarchies. They were also known for taking their traditions very, very seriously. "What happens if I refuse?" Marcus asked weakly. "According to their customs, massive insult to their entire civilization, potential dissolution of the human-Kitsune alliance, and probably a diplomatic crisis that would end both our careers." Sarah patted his shoulder sympathetically. "Look on the bright side, maybe she's nice." The formal bonding ceremony took place 3 days later in the Grand Hall of Kitsara Prime. Marcus stood in his dress uniform, feeling like he was attending his own execution, while Kitsune nobility filled the chamber in elaborate formal attire. The Kitsune were beautiful people, Marcus had to admit. Their fur ranged from white to orange to black, their tails were luxurious and expressive, and their features combined human and fox characteristics in ways that were oddly elegant. But beauty didn't change the fact that he was being married to a complete stranger as payment for doing his job. The ceremony began with traditional music, haunting and melodic. Then, from a side entrance, his bride appeared. Lady Yukiara was stunning. Her fur was pure white, almost luminescent in the ceremonial lighting. Her silver hair was elaborated, styled with precious ornaments, and her 9 tails, fanned behind her in a display that drew gasps from the assembled nobles. Wait, 9 tails. Marcus's cultural briefing had mentioned that tail number indicated status among Kitsune. 1 to 3 tails was common, 4 to 6 was nobility, 7 to 8 was high nobility, 9 tails was reserved for royalty. "Oh no," Marcus muttered. The ceremony proceeded in Kitsune. Marcus's translator implant converted the words, but he was too shocked to process most of them. Something about honor, valor, sacred bonds, and eternal commitment. The officiator placed a silver collar around Yukiara's neck, a symbol of the bond, and a matching bracelet on Marcus's wrist. By the ancient traditions of our people, the officiator declared, Lady Yukiara of the Imperial Silvertail clan is now bonded to Lieutenant Marcus Webb of Earth. May their union bring honor to both houses. The chamber erupted in formal applause. Yukiara turned to Marcus, her golden eyes meeting his for the first time, and bowed deeply. I am honored to be bonded to such a valiant warrior, she said in perfect English, her voice soft and musical. I pledge my loyalty, my service, and my life to you, my lord husband. Marcus opened his mouth to respond, but no words came out. What did you say to a fox princess you just accidentally married? The reception was a blur of formal introductions, elaborate toasts, and increasingly uncomfortable conversations. Marcus learned several disturbing facts in rapid succession. 1. Yukiara was the emperor's youngest daughter. 2. The sacred bond ceremony was legally binding under both Kitsune and coalition law. 3. Yukiara was expected to leave her homeworld and live with Marcus as per tradition. 4. Refusal or dissolution of the bond would be considered grounds for war. This is insane, Marcus said to Colonel Parks during a brief moment of privacy. They married me to a princess without asking if I was even single. What if I had a girlfriend back home? Do you have a girlfriend back home? No, but that's not the point. Marcus, I understand this is overwhelming, but you need to look at the bigger picture. The Kitsune just gave you their emperor's daughter. That's a massive statement of respect and alliance. They're tying their royal family to humanity through you. Why me, though? I'm just a fleet officer. There are generals, ambassadors, actual important people. You saved their capital city. You personally disabled 3 Crixian dreadnoughts and held off their invasion fleet until reinforcements arrived. You're a hero to them. Sarah's expression turned serious. And now your family, royal family, whether you wanted it or not. Marcus looked across the reception hall to where Yukiara sat among her relatives. She looked small and uncertain despite her formal composure, her 9 tails wrapped protectively around herself. She looked as trapped as he felt. The first private conversation with his new wife happened later that evening in the quarters assigned to them. The suite was luxurious by military standards, multiple rooms, actual windows, furniture that wasn't bolted down. Yukiara stood near the window, still in her ceremonial robes, staring out at the city lights. Her ears were pressed flat against her head, a sign of distress Marcus had learned. Lady Yukiara, he began awkwardly, I think we need to talk about this situation. You did not want this bond. It wasn't a question. Her voice was quiet, resigned. No, I'm sorry, but I didn't. I had no idea that saving your city would result in, he gestured helplessly between them. This. She turned to face him, her golden eyes shimmering with unshed tears. I understand. You are a warrior of great honor who wanted recognition for your valor, not to be burdened with an unwanted wife. You're not a burden, you're a person, but Marcus ran his hand through his hair, frustrated. Can I ask you something? Did you want this? Yukiara was quiet for a long moment. My wants are irrelevant. I am the emperor's daughter. My purpose is to serve my people's interests. When the council decided you should receive our highest honor, I was selected because my rank matched the magnitude of your deed. That's not what I asked. She looked away. No, I did not want this. I am 18 summers old. I had hoped to choose my own mate eventually, perhaps in another decade when I came of age for bonding. But duty does not wait for personal preference. Marcus felt his anger shift, not at her but at the whole situation. So we're both trapped in this. Yes. They stood in awkward silence for several moments. Finally, Marcus said, "Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to figure this out together like rational adults. No expectations, no pressure. We're stuck with this bond legally, but that doesn't mean we have to make each other miserable." Yukiara's ears perked up slightly. "What do you mean?" "I mean we treat this like a partnership. We're bonded, fine. But we get to know each other first before anyone expects anything romantic or," he felt his face heat, "or anything else. We're basically roommates with fancy jewelry. We can work with that." For the first time, Yukiara smiled, small but genuine. "You would accept me as a partner rather than demanding I fulfill the traditional duties of a bonded mate." "I'm not going to demand anything. You're a person, not property. I don't care what the traditions say." Her tails unfurled slightly, relaxing from their defensive position. "You are a strange human, Marcus Webb. I've been told that before." He offered his hand. "So, partners, at least until we figure out if we can stand each other." She placed her small, delicate hand in his. "Partners." The first month was an adjustment. Yukiara moved into Marcus's quarters on the human fleet carrier where he was stationed. His fellow officers were intensely curious about the fox princess who now lived in military housing, but Yukiara handled the attention with grace. She was, Marcus discovered, incredibly intelligent. She spoke 7 languages fluently, had degrees in interstellar diplomacy and quantum mechanics, and could discuss military tactics with surprising sophistication. "Why would they marry you off as a prize?" Marcus asked one evening as they shared dinner, a human meal he'd prepared and a kitsune dish she'd made, both experimenting with each other's cuisines. "You're clearly too valuable as a diplomat or scientist." "Because I am the youngest daughter with no political power," Yukiara explained. "My 3 older sisters are being groomed for actual authority. I was always meant for strategic marriage eventually. This simply happened earlier than expected." "That's archaic. That's tradition." She nibbled delicately at the pasta he'd made. "This is pleasant, you cook well." "Thanks, you too, this whatever it is amazing." "Kinoko gohan, mushroom rice, a simple comfort food," she smiled. "I'm pleased you enjoy it." They fell into comfortable routines. Marcus would work his shifts on the carrier. Yukiara would study or communicate with her family. Evenings they'd share meals and talk about their different cultures, their childhoods, their hopes and frustrations. Marcus learned that Yukiara loved music but had no talent for it, that she was terrified of deep water despite Kitsune being excellent swimmers, that she had a sharp, witty sense of humor hidden beneath her formal exterior. Yukiara learned that Marcus had grown up without much family, that he joined the military seeking purpose, that he was deeply uncomfortable with his sudden hero status. They learned each other, and somewhere in that first month something shifted. The awkwardness faded. The forced politeness became genuine friendship. Marcus found himself looking forward to coming home to find Yukiara reading in their quarters, her tails curled around her like a blanket. Yukiara found herself listening for the sound of the door, eager to share her day with someone who actually listened. 2 months after the bonding, Marcus woke to screaming. He bolted upright to find Yukiara thrashing in her bed, making distressed whimpering sounds. Her tails were lashing wildly, her ears pressed flat. "Yuki!" He rushed to her side, gently shaking her shoulder. "Wake up, you're dreaming." She woke with a gasp, eyes wide and terrified. For a moment she didn't seem to recognize him, then awareness returned and she collapsed against him, trembling. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you, Hey, no, it's okay. Bad dream." She nodded against his chest, her breathing uneven. "The invasion. I was in the capital when the Crixian ships attacked. I saw the bombardment, saw buildings collapse, saw people die, and I couldn't do anything. I was trapped in the palace shelter while my city burned." Marcus wrapped his arms around her carefully, feeling how small she was beneath all that formal dignity. "You're safe now. The city was rebuilt. Your people are okay. I keep seeing it, the fires, the screams. In my dreams, the Crixians win. They break through the defenses," and she shuddered. "And then I remember, you stopped them. You saved us, saved me. I was just doing my job. Your job was to defend coalition space. You went beyond that. You positioned your ship directly in the invasion path, knowing you'd be destroyed. My father watched the battle recordings. He said you should have died 3 times over. But I didn't. No, you survived impossible odds and saved my entire world." She pulled back to look at him, her golden eyes intense. "Do you understand now why they bonded us? It wasn't just tradition, Marcus. It was gratitude. You saved everything we love, and we gave you everything we could in return. They gave me you." "Yes." Marcus realized he was still holding her, that her tails had wrapped around his waist, that her face was inches from his. "Yuki, I need to tell you something." "Yes." "I'm glad they gave me you. I was angry at first, felt like I'd been trapped. But these past 2 months," he paused, searching for words. "You're the best thing that's happened to me. Not the bond, not the honor. You, the person." Her ears perked forward, her tails tightening slightly. "Truly, truly. I know we started this as partners, as friends, but he took a breath. "I'm falling for you, Yuki. The real you, not the princess or the bonded mate, the woman who makes terrible jokes about quantum physics and cries at sad music and can't cook rice without burning it. I do not burn rice. You absolutely do. Only sometimes. She smiled through her tears. Marcus, I'm falling for you too. I didn't expect to. I thought this bond would be a prison, but you've made it feel like home. He kissed her then, soft and careful, asking permission with the gesture. She responded immediately, her hands coming up to grip his shoulders, a small pleased sound escaping her throat. When they finally pulled apart, her tails were wagging happily. Your tails wag when you're happy, Marcus observed with a grin. Be quiet. It's adorable. I am a princess of the Imperial Silvertail clan. I am not adorable. You're definitely adorable. She kissed him again to shut him up, and Marcus decided that was a perfectly acceptable solution. 6 months after the bonding, Marcus received another summons to appear before Kitsune leadership. This time he wasn't nervous. Yukiara came with him, holding his hand as they entered the imperial throne room. Emperor Rinkazu regarded them from his throne, his own 9 tails spread in a display of absolute authority. Lieutenant Webb, daughter, you appear before us to report on the success of your bond. Marcus stood straight. Your Majesty, I want to thank you. The Emperor's ears twitched in surprise. Thank me. When I first learned about the bonding, I was angry, felt trapped. I didn't understand your customs or your intentions. Marcus glanced at Yukiara, who smiled encouragingly. But you gave me something I didn't know I needed. Not just a wife, a partner, a friend, someone who makes every day better. I came to your world as a soldier. You sent me home as a husband, and I'm grateful. The Emperor studied them both, then his stern expression softened into something almost gentle. Daughter, are you happy? Yes, father, very much so. Then the bond is successful. Our traditions stand validated once more. He addressed Marcus directly. You have honored our gift by cherishing our daughter, Lieutenant. You have proven yourself worthy not just as a warrior, but as a mate. After the formal audience, Yukiara led Marcus to a private garden within the palace. There's something I need to tell you. That sounds ominous. Not ominous, just important. She took a breath. As bonded mate to an imperial daughter, you hold rank in Kitsune society. You're considered low nobility now. Okay. And if I become pregnant, when I become pregnant, our children will be in the line of succession. Distant line, but still legitimate heirs. Marcus processed this. Your father bonded you to me knowing our kids would be half human, half Kitsune royalty. Yes, it's unprecedented, controversial. Some of the noble houses are furious. Her tails swished nervously. But my father believes the future of our people lies in integration with the wider galaxy, not isolation. Bonding his daughter to a human hero was a statement. We trust humanity enough to mix our bloodlines. That's a lot of political weight for a marriage. Yes. She took his hands. So I need to know, can you handle this? Not just being married to me, but being part of Kitsune nobility. Dealing with court politics and succession questions, and eventually raising children who will be caught between 2 cultures. Marcus thought about the strange journey that had brought him here. He'd won a bride as a medal, expecting nothing but diplomatic headaches. Instead, he'd found love with a brilliant, beautiful woman who'd been equally trapped by tradition. They turned their forced bonding into real partnership, their awkward arrangement into genuine affection. "I can handle it," he said, "as long as we handle it together." Yukiara's tails wagged despite her attempt at dignity. "Together, then. Together, you, me, and whatever future we build. Even if that future involves you being consort to a princess. Even then, though I'm keeping my job, being space nobility sounds boring." She laughed, the sound bright and free. "Agreed. You'd make a terrible courtier. The worst." They stood in the garden as twin moons rose over Kitsara Prime, two people from different worlds bound by tradition but choosing each other freely. Marcus had won an alien fox bride as a medal for valor. He'd learned she was royal, that their bonding carried massive political implications, that their future would be complicated and unprecedented. And he'd discovered he didn't care about any of that. Because somewhere between obligatory partnership and reluctant cohabitation, he'd fallen completely in love with Yukiara, not the princess, not the political symbol, but the woman who burned rice and loved bad jokes and made his quarters feel like home. She'd been given to him as a prize, but she'd become his everything by choice, and that made all the difference. "Marcus," Yukiara said softly. "Yes, take me home to our quarters. I want to just be us for a while, not royalty or heroes. Just Yuki and Marcus." He kissed her forehead gently. "Best idea you've had all day." They left the palace together, hands intertwined, tails wagging, walking toward a future neither had expected but both had chosen. And it was perfect.